Hello, Guardians and gamers. In this video, I'm going to be reacting to what Joe has put out to address the Destiny 2 community on Twitter. This is what I'm going to be going over, everything that's gone on, I would say basically this whole year so far in our Destiny expansion for Lightfall and the letdown upon letdown. I mean, I always am optimistic that Bungie can pull things together, and I mean, they have in the past. Hopefully they will in the future. Let's get into the video and see what Joe has to say and where he's going to go with everything.
Hey everybody, it's Joe, and I'm just here to check in on how Destiny's going. So a few weeks ago, we put about state of the game communication that wasn't up to our standards for what y'all have come to expect for those kinds of communication.
Well, it wasn't just up to his standards. I mean, it wasn't even really up to our standards. So
it didn't provide the high-level vision that we normally provide, and really and truly, a bunch of us were heads down working the final shape and weren't able to give it the sort of care and love that we normally put into these kind of communications. And that's nobody's fault but mine here on this. So I wanted to come in, talk to you all directly, and sort of give you an update on what we thought about the state of the game that we put out and what we think about Destiny as a whole. Now, this is going to be pretty different than normal. This isn't a highly produced sort of production. It's me in my office. It's not scripted. I've got a bunch of notes here that we're going to read through. And it's going to feel probably more like you're just in a meeting with me, which is going to be rambly, and we're probably going to...
Joe, you are in a meeting with us, and you are on the other side of the desk.
Mess up a few times, but really, I just want to go over where we're thinking about the game. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the reveal coming out next week. We're going to talk about PvP. We're going to talk about armor. We're going to talk about our communication strategy. Those are the big ones.
So, not too long ago, Bungie did put out a survey before they released the state of the game. Those who did get the survey, I don't really see where the survey went because it didn't really touch on any of the topics that we had highlighted within said survey. So hopefully the topics that Joe is able to touch on here is some of what the community, as well as myself, is looking for in the direction that we want Destiny to go. And I mean, hopefully that Bungie realizes that, the community has a big influence on the game. It has a big influence on how other people perceive the game and so on. If there is any other topics that you wanted Joe touch on, I mean, I would definitely love to see what those other topics are and, what he does get into, what he does explain and everything. So make sure you guys leave some comments in there.
So let's just get right into it. Let's start with reveal. Next week, we're going to go out and we're going to show an awesome showcase for the final shape. We're really excited about a bunch of the content in there, but truly, that showcase is not a reaction to the state of the game last week. It's not a reaction to a bunch of the sentiment online, and it's definitely not a reaction.
So a reaction to the state of the game. So the community perceived the state of the game very negatively. Bungie also put out a video that was basically like highlighting some of the best moments in Destiny 2. I would just say they're clips from, some streamers out there, some reaction videos and such for when they were playing the content when it freshly came out. But, a lot of the content, and even when I seen the video, I was just like, well, where's that content? I mean, most of it we can't even play anymore because you guys vaulted it. And the experience that we've had till now within Lightfall has, been anticlimactic. Anyways, let's continue.
Reaction to this video. It was recorded a while ago. I think I have a mustache in the video, and it's a pretty focused reveal. In the same way that the game itself is pretty focused. The final shape is focused on the light. It's focused on the enemies we've been setting up and the allies that you've come to know. It's not about a bunch of wacky new systems or wacky new themes coming into Destiny. Instead, we want to make an experience that's super easy for anyone who's ever played Destiny to come in and absolutely fall in love with the content that's before them. I think the other thing that's really important here to know, as I sort of look at my meeting notes, is that communication is built for a pretty wide audience, much wider than probably whoever is watching this video.
Well, even to point that out, I mean, the people who are probably watching this video or, have, been pointed toward this video, it's probably everybody in the community or everybody playing Destiny. I mean, I don't know how it gets much wider than that. To other people, it's irrelevant to them. So, yeah.
So what we're not going to talk about is things like a big new Strange Coin refactor and Xur revamp that's coming.
I will take Strange Coins. I mean, thus far, they pretty much just been like a skipping stone. So, wing.
Out in the final shape. We're not going to talk about things like a refactor of HUD elements where we're making sure the buffs and the debuffs are more clear and you can tell.
I would love for the buffs and debuffs to be more clear. If I could take those things and put them where I want on the screen or, whatever like that, I would effing love that. Would be really, really, really good. Because, a stack of like 8 different buffs over on just one side of the screen, or how many ever fit in there, or other ones push other ones out that you really do need, it does get kind of frustrating. So I would love for them to fix that.
Happening in higher level combat. It's going to, again, really be focused on the story, really be focused on the location, and maybe we'll get into a little bit about how the live service of Destiny is going to change after the final shape.
And I hear him say that, and it really does send a shiver up my spine, because I mean, I really hope that the game doesn't go anywhere and actually does continue with the live service that it has had thus far. Hopefully, maybe a little bit more serviceable. I cringe, because trying to read his body language and everything, it's right on that border of don't break my heart, Joe.
Following that showcase, Dan, our GM, and I are going to be on set, taking questions, dotting T's, crossing I's, or maybe the reverse of that, on what you've seen in the showcase. So we'll provide a little bit more clarity on what was shown, and we'll probably get into some ways that maybe our philosophy on the final shape or specific details might have changed over the last few weeks since we recorded the showcase. All right, I think that's it for reveal. If I'm looking at the sheet next, we've got PvP. So let's start with the state of PvP right now in Destiny. What have we been doing? What have we been focused on? We've been really focused on sandbox balance. So like a big focus of effort last year was just making sure that Strand came out in a good place and got to live sort of in harmony with the rest of our Crucible ecosystem. Aside from that, we've been focusing on putting up 2 weapon balances per season, one at the start, one in the mid-season. And we've been focusing on ritual updates to PvP, be this mode updates, point updates, reward updates at the beginning of each season. Finally, we flip over to our agenda. We've been focused on making 1 new map and a few reprises a year. Now,
which to me, the 1 new map and the reprise is fine. The 1 new map a year, it is very lets people down, right? Because I mean, you've got a whole year, 1 map. It just meh. I would love to see Bungie, like every season, every 3 months, 4 times a year, come out with a new map. Why not? And the only answer to that is excuses of why not, to do that. So
all that aside, I think it's fair to say this approach is not producing the Crucible that our players expect us. So what are we going to do? How are we going to change? First, let's talk about maps. It's clear that the sort of slow trickle of PvP maps isn't having the effect we want. And although it gets an injection of PvP maps every so often into the ecosystem, it's also forcing this like one new map a year. It means you're trying to build a map that has to do everything, which means it can't be good at anything. So next year, we're going to change our philosophy. Instead of a slow trickle of maps throughout the year, we're going to focus our effort into a single map pack that's free for everyone. So imagine new maps coming in one drop where we can make a bunch of new experiences that can all be good at specific things and adds a big variety in a single drop next year.
So, and him saying that, that's, in my opinion, I mean, everybody else could say, oh, I would love a ton of new maps all at once. Release it every 3 months. You have a new season, release a new PvP map. I mean, it's just giving everybody something all at once. You're going to have a whole year of the same thing again. If every 3 months, every season, you got a new map, in my opinion, would be awesome.
Shift from our strategy. So it's going to take us time to sort of understand the details of what we're putting out here and getting that out to y'all next year. Okay, maps are great, but we still really believe that PvP is about the foundation, and new maps aren't going to solve a foundation. So modes. First of all, I'm really excited about what's coming out in season 22. First with Checkmate. Checkmate is a mode all about that sort of primary fire, basic weapon excellence of Bungie games and being able to show that excellence in a PvP setting. It's what a bunch of our like really marksman style PvP players have been asking for a long time since Destiny 1. And we're finally going to put a mode like that in the game. And I'm super.
How many years later? You know? Hey.
Super excited for a bunch of those players to get that experience starting right away in season 22. Next, we've got Relic. And so Relic is a different kind of mode, and it sort of is a building off of these experiments that we've been doing with things like Fortress or Eruption, where it's about,
you know, like Relic. I don't mind Relic, but if everybody is on the same page that you're in a match with, it goes quite well. But if, a lot of people have no bloody clue, then it can kind of go in the direction of, you're up against a team that knows what they're doing and a team that doesn't know what they're doing.
Quality Destiny sandbox experience of your guns and your powers that escalates when you succeed in sort of a crazy mayhem-like experience. And we think the balance of those two things is a really great time to sort of spin away from other parts of the game and get the full spectrum of what Destiny has to offer. I'm really excited about things like Fortress, and I'm really excited that Relic is going to provide an experience like this that is both, fun for people that are really good at slaying out and also has these sort of like high octane hijinks moments to it. But that's what we've already committed to. So let's talk about some new things that we think we need to do. One, we know we need to bring more of our modes into the core playlists. We've been putting a lot out in labs. We've been putting a lot out in Iron Banner. And to be honest, there's a few obstacles to us putting these into our core playlists, be this VO or small bug level issues that we just were like, I don't know if we're ready. I think that has been blocking us from doing the right thing here.
A lot of it, in my opinion, as well, is, they go and put something out and they use 100% of the community to test it out. And if 100% of the community says it's shit, we have to put up with it until Bungie goes, okay, well, this didn't work. They didn't react to it the way that we thought they would. Having a public test community, 1,000 people or whatever that Bungie would put together, to work together with the Bungie team to test this stuff out like you do in other games like World of Warcraft. And I think it would go over a whole lot better. You would have a smaller group of people that's giving you the feedback that isn't going to be 100% negative. And you can take it from there. You can make the tweaks and adjustments if there's glitches. but just releasing something and sending it out to the community and then reacting to it is not the way to go about it.
So we're going to take on some of that bug wake. We're going to take on a little bit of the jank, and we're going to say, no. This isn't worth us not putting into the mode. And so we're going to take some of these modes that we've been putting in Crucible Labs, we've been putting in Iron Banner, and taking them and putting them into the core PvP experience that most of our players experience. We've also heard a lot about comp, and particularly about the way that we reward points in comp. So we want to take a new approach to the way that we're balancing points in comp. Right now, we think it's just weighted too much on your personal MMR versus the people you're playing against. And when you win or when you lose a game, it can be really unpredictable how many points you're getting. We're going to go to a simpler system where winning or losing just matters more. Finally, we want to get great modes like Countdown Rush into competitive and get modes that people are less excited about, like Rift, out of the rotation, making that competitive experience more about the game modes that, our players enjoy. Okay, so we've talked map strategy, we've talked modes. I want to talk one other effort we want to do here. We're going to bolster what we call a PvP strike team. Throughout Destiny development, we've built strike teams for efforts before. This has probably been sort of invisible to you all in the audience, but in moments like in between Curse of Osiris and Warmind, we built a strike team for Destiny investment. This team was sort of built around, hey, how can we make it more rewarding and more enjoyable to just get stuff in Destiny 2? This team built stuff very quickly, like what would eventually become the masterworking system.
Yeah, and even on that, 100% having that consolidated team, like right there in the office, that's exactly what they're doing, is this one specific thing. It's very narrow, it's not broad, where you're getting a bunch of different stuff piled on your desk, and it's not your scope of what you're usually doing. Having that team, one team dedicated to that, 100%. I mean, it doesn't just go with what he's saying there, having a strike team for PvP. Consolidating a lot of what Bungie has out there. You got a team that's making weapons, and I mean, they're not even making weapons, they're just reskinning weapons. You got a team that's making armor, and they're not even making armor, they're just reskinning armor. You got people that are reprising raids and redoing dungeons and then making new content. It's it's so scattered out. Like having things more consolidated into one location, or the teams that are actually able to talk together even within the same time zone, instead of being across the world. God knows where Bungie's got people making things, but it would, to me, would just work a whole lot better.
Also went through, knocked out a whole bunch of bugs, knocked out a whole bunch of quality of life issues. We're going to take the same effort and we're going to build a PvP strike team around the same principle, but have it focused on the Crucible. It's going to be led by PvP developers, and it has a
So the PvP developers, they're probably the same ones that are working on Marathon. Seeing that PvP or Marathon is a PvP based game, so I want to see how they're going to input. And I mean, from what I'm gathering from what he's talking about, the expectations hopefully are met, and with any luck, exceeded.
Really interesting playbook for how this works, and that's that first the team decides what they want to do. They as a team get together, say, hey, these are the changes we want to make. Those changes go through me. They go through our systems CD. And then when we say, yep, those are great changes, they immediately get communicated with you all in the community.
Yes. And like I mentioned, having a public test group would benefit huge, because then you just have the group experiencing any glitches or anything that's going wrong, or anything can be fixed before the whole community hates you for it. Or maybe it's good and everybody's like, you got to get this out. It's the whole community can then experience this is awesome.
So this will be going out in a TWID, going out in
rest in peace, Twab. I know he tripped up on it there, but rest in peace, Twab.
A Twitter post or going out on Reddit, right? Just sort of some immediate blast, like, hey, these are the changes coming. And those changes get communicated even before they start getting implemented. And then we start getting implemented. We found this formula is a really successful way for us to be able to push through changes quickly into the community. And I think one of the most exciting parts about these strike teams is we build them based off of community feedback. So these strike teams are built from the ground up to look at, hey, what are the pain points that are hitting our community the most? And so all this list is going to be built and burned down.
Yeah, but we also, to put that out there, we've also been expressing our pain points for a very long time. Does it get addressed? No. If we express 100% of what we dislike or like, 10% of it gets addressed. So, I mean, even to say that on the server issues, I get kicked out of the game daily. You could get error coded daily, sometimes hourly, multiple times hourly, sometimes.
From, hey, these are the big issues the PvP community is looking at in Destiny. All right, I think that's the end of the PvP part of our agenda. If I'm looking at our notes here, I think we're now going to talk about armor. It's probably been a while since we talked about this part about armor, but we might have talked about it before. I want to start with talking about armor visual categories.
When did we talk about it before? You guys haven't been communicating with us for over a year.
In Destiny. So at the top, we've got what we call aspirational armor. This is stuff like raids, trials, dungeons. We want the armor that comes from these activities to be flashy, or to like really talk about the core of what that experience is.
Give me shiny shit. I love it. Like Solstice armor, when they first came out with it, it was flashy, it was cool. To be able to walk around in the tower with the whole set of raid armor, it was amazing. And I mean, I can't talk against bad about anything, because I mean, I love the armor set from Kingsfall. I love the armor set from Spire, the armor set from Ghosts of the Deep. I mean, they're all really, really good armor sets. They look really cool. Even the on the seasonal pass that we got this year, it's that armor set is that, or the ornaments or transmogs, whatever you want to call it, for those armor sets is awesome.
It's really important that when players earn these armors, they feel proud, they want to wear them, they want to show them off in the tower. Next, we've got silver, right? This is armor that you can buy.
You do have the silver. We don't. I'm broke as fuck.
For the store for silver. It's important for us that this feels like it's sort of breaking the mold of what you could expect in a Destiny game. It's our place to experiment with stuff that's a little bit fourth wall breaky. And importantly, we want anyone that spends silver on armor to feel like, hey, it was worth it, right? Like, I got my money's worth when I spent this armor. It was cool.
100%. And the other thing to put out with there, if you're spending silver, money, you're spending $20, $40, $100 or whatever, yeah, definitely. You're not going to go and buy something because you don't like it. I mean, if you are, that's kind of odd. But, if you're spending your money on something and then, 6 months or a year later, it is free, that's a little bit of a piss off to a lot of people, right? I mean, I would be kind of addressing that as well. Or, if, next season, this armor set that you spent silver on is now available for just a little bit of glimmer. It's a bit of a kick in the hoo-haws for people, right?
Then we have what I call narrative armor. This is the stuff that you'll see in any sort of our marketing trailers. This is the stuff that you earn in the season pass. It's the stuff that you earn in the post game of a campaign. And it's really about driving home what that specific moment in time was. So in season 21, it's deep sea diver armor, right? In Witch Queen, it's a sort of like weird paranormal detective armor. You'll see what it is in the final shape here in a week or so.
Oh, you almost slipped up. We almost got maybe a little sneak peek at what the armor could be. Maybe it's some red, fiery, glowy armor. It's absolutely amazing. You look like a crazy fireball. Let's go. We'll get it out of him. Just you wait.
But that armor for us is really about like driving home this clear, consistent fantasy of like, oh yeah, I was there. I remember that time in Destiny. Finally, we've got rituals and blues. And this space has always sort of been about that core Guardian fantasy. What does the Guardian look like that you would imagine as sort of the stereotypical everyday Guardian, or the Guardian that you see on the front line? Maybe tragically a Guardian that tried to go into the portal of the Traveler and then gets cut up into a million pieces. This is that spot. And we need a lot of armor here to sort of flesh out those fantasies. Now,
so kind of what he's like touching on there is like what you think your Guardian looks like. If you've been playing Destiny, since D1 all the way up until now, I mean, the dungeons that you've done, the raids, the PvP, the story content, and each time we're able to beat every single boss that's come up in front of us. The Vex can't even run a simulation where they beat us, and it really takes that my look of the Guardian of this Guardian or Guardians are absolute badasses, and I mean what the Guardian is wearing aesthetically should reflect that as well, right?
Sometime in the middle of last year, we sort of reevaluated our priorities on armor. And we said, hey, we need to be spending more on the armors that people care the most about, the people that earn, that spend, that do all this so they can sort of get these armors in the game. So this is like our PvP stuff in trials, our aspirational stuff in raids and dungeons, our narrative stuff. We thought we weren't consistently hitting the bar enough in those looks. And I think that since that initiative, we've been really successful in this. We've put out great stuff in terms of like cowboy armor for Spire. We've put out awesome stuff in the Root of Nightmares raid. And we've put out a bunch of awesome armor sets for sort of a deep sea fantasy last season and Season of the Deep. Now, what we failed to do when we reprioritized.
See, and I love this armor. I go and wear it, and I'm told I look weird. My drip is cool. I think it's cool.
Hey, where our resources going is communicate this to you. So we knew that when we made this change, we weren't going to be able to make a ritual armor set every single year. And we thought, okay, well, that's fine. We have a lot that fits this sort of base Guardian fantasy. But we should have communicated that out to you. And so, one, I'd like to say, this is not a thing that we're never going to invest in. We're investing in it again in the final shape. There's going to be a whole nother ritual suite of armor. And we're excited to sort of replenish that base Guardian fantasy. But just because we're doing that in the final shape year, that doesn't mean that we communicated this soon enough. So also for this year, we want to take an armor set that we were going to put in the Eververse, and we're saying, no. We should have communicated this earlier. It's really important that our fans can trust us. Let's take this armor set that we were going to use in season.
Oh, Charity. I love Charity. You know who they're appeasing with doing this, right? Okay.
Season 22 for the Eververse set, and let's say, no, it's going to be free, and we're going to put it as ritual rewards. So next season, before the end of the season.
Don't take away from those resources now. Are you guys going to be able to make it if you take a armor set out of the Eververse that we have to buy for silver? Are you guys going to have the resources?
Season, you should see a brand new armor set that you can earn through playing Strikes, Crucible, Gambit as like a ritual reward for doing this, a brand new armor look. Again, we're confident in our strategy going forward. We believe this is the right priority going forward, but also it's our responsibility to communicate this stuff sooner. So we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by all the fans. All right, I think that's armor. Let's talk about comms. Okay, we've talked a lot about how the development team is very busy. And I think that although we really want to be focused on delivering great content to y'all and making sure that's our top priority, that doesn't mean our communications have to suffer. And so the first thing, we want to be talking to y'all more. But talking to y'all more, our number one priority, we have to keep our community members and our community leaders safe from the Bungie side.
And I don't disagree with that. There's nobody that works for any company that has to put up with people within the community or within in the company with harassment or derogatory comments or threats or anything like that. That's zero tolerance for that period. And I 100% agree with that. Maybe the way that Bungie went about dealing with it, I don't think was the correct way of dealing with it. Other things could have been done. And to me, really, that communication never should have stopped. You know, Bungie has the resources. I mean, if you purchase a company for 3 point something billion dollars, they have the resources.
I don't want anyone that signs up to come work at Bungie and to talk to you all about the game to have to worry about their personal safety. So we're going to keep using our branded accounts. You'll see these on Twitter and you'll see these on Reddit, right? And we want to be using those accounts with more personality, going and talking to y'all more. The other thing is me. I play the game a bunch. And
See, he says he's played the game a bunch. I don't even know what's this guy's Bungie name. What's his hashtag?
right now, I don't have a bunch of time to be writing sort of big, long blog posts like you would assume. But when season 22 rolls around again, I'm going to be in the game a lot. I'm going to be playing a lot. So what we want to do is commit.
He's got time to play the game, but no time to talk to us. Well, the tables have turned. Let's go.
To a few times next season and the season after, I'm just going to stream me playing the game. And you'll be able to come and talk to me. And it's not going to be.
And that is really cool. You know, having a Bungie employee stay live on, whether it's Twitch or YouTube or Kick or, you know, whatever platform that they choose to be able to stream like that as a representative of Bungie playing Destiny with the community, in the community, so you can go and talk and watch and have that, you know, one-on-one communication is going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, and I hope people don't ruin it, you know, please.
Reveal packed, but it is a great time to just be like, hey, check in with Joe. These are the things that we're feeling, get his opinions on them. And hopefully, if I can get and play with some of our like elite players, me learn a bit more of the game. I learn a ton from playing with you all in the community.
Who wants to play with those elite players? Come on. I'm enjoying the scrubs in the back.
Community about different builds that are exciting, different ways to roll. So I want to commit, get out there, play some PvP, learn from some experts, and play alongside all of you next season. All right, the only thing that I have left here is close. So I think that means my rambling on here today is over. Thanks so much for listening to this, for watching this. Really excited to see a bunch of y'all next week at the reveal. Bye.
So 100%. I mean, I think everything that's gone on this year, you know, with Lightfall, everything that Bungie has put out recently, like the state of the game, the highlights of Destiny video that was put out, the reactions that Bungie have, you know, received over that, and again, this is Joe reacting to that negativity that was going on and that was being written in these posts. I mean, it's absolutely true what people are saying, and it's not just you know, people being douchey and going after Bungie and the devs. It really is true, and hopefully you know, in a positive way, that we're, you know, able to move forward, get the game that the community is expecting, have that communication with Bungie, with the devs, with other members, management, or anything within Bungie itself, and you know, enjoy the experience. So everybody, I greatly appreciate you watching the video. If you can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you want, come check us out at youtube.com/@Starset7Gaming. Description is links in the description down below. Everybody, until next time, be safe out there and take care.